On Leaf's journey in Thracia 776, we learn of petrification magic, and it's displayed for the first time on Ava when she's taken hostage by Veld and then turned into stone. The magic is so powerful that it can't be broken by any other means besides the Kia staff, and thankfully, with the help of Sara, Leaf is able to save Ava and put an end to Veld. But what if I told you that we actually see the petrification a little bit earlier? It's very easy to miss since it's shown for a pretty brief moment, but at the end of chapter 4, we see 4 statues. The top left statue is a female swordmaster, the top right statue is a male mage knight, the bottom left is a female mage knight, and the bottom right could be really any kind of class, like a paladin or a duke knight or a great knight, because they all share the same dismounted sprite in FE5. But why do these feel so specific? There's no way Shozo Kaga, the game's creator and just the father of Fire Element in general, just thought to use these very specific classes as decoration. Otherwise, he would have used some other statue that we see in the game. It has to be something deeper. Well, what if these people are actually petrified members of Sigurd's army? This topic has been discussed for quite some time, and I've read a few old Fire Emblem forums and some Reddit threads, and I wanted to bring it back for a discussion. Regardless of the situation, it looks like there is a consensus on who exactly these people are. The top left swordmaster could be Ira, the top right mage knight could be Azel, the bottom left mage knight could be Lachesis, and the bottom right isn't clear, but often these forums say it's Lex. There's some decent evidence to suggest this as well, as many of the Gen 1 units can be ruined down because it's either confirmed that they die like Sigurd, Quan, Ethlin, or they survive through some unique circumstances like Lowen or Bridget. Additionally, all of these characters are basically one of a kind in the playable roster. Ira is the only female swordmaster in Gen 1, Azel is the only male mage knight in Gen 1. Azel is a unique case where, in an early script of the game, he was supposed to be petrified but then saved, which would add a tiny bit of evidence that it could be him, but it's also an early script, so I don't think we can use that since it's not canon. There is no female mage knight in the playable cast of Gen 1, but Lachesis does promote to a master knight, which has him out, and she's the only one that can promote to this class. And lastly, all of these characters descend from one of the 12 Crusaders. Ira descends from Ode, Azel from Flaher, Lachesis from Hoder, and Lex from Nal, which would no doubt be important and useful to the Loftier cult for their sacrifices or just general evil schemes. And I'm really sorry if I butchered any of those pronunciations. I'm just going off the fan translations. While this does make a good argument, there are a few flaws within this theory. The first and biggest one is, we don't even know for certain that this could be Sigurd's army, as nobody ever mentions this exact prison or room ever again. It could just be unnamed soldiers who maybe rebelled against the Loftier cult and were petrified for life as a punishment. Second, if this was a Gen 1 cast, I'm pretty sure that they'd play a much larger role than just be background petrified units. Personally, I believe the only character that could actually be argued for is Lachesis, while the other ones can be ruled out. You can eliminate Lex because his sprite is shared with several male mountain units in the game, so there's nothing definitive to say it's him, even if he descends from Nal. It's also stated that he perished in the Battle of Valhalla, so there's that too. Ira and Azel are actually pretty difficult since they both have an ambiguous ending, and while Azel does have that early script heavily supporting him in terms of evidence, again, it's not canon, so it's not a part of the official lore, at least from the finalized game, so within the game itself, we also don't know about his whereabouts either. What I'm trying to say here is that while we can argue for these three, we just don't have enough evidence since their ends are left completely unanswered except for Lex. So that leaves Lachesis, which she's also very ambiguous in what her fate was, but I think she has the strongest case. For starters, we do know that she actually did survive the Valhalla massacre because she raised Nana and Leaf for a brief amount of time in Younster with Finn. She then went to Izok for deer mud, but on her journey there, her whereabouts became unknown after getting to the Aid Desert. Sylphina even recalls and calls out Finn for letting her go to the Aid Desert specifically. And in her conversation with Leaf recalls Lycus's raising him. Where things get foggy though is what exactly happened to her at the Aid Desert. There's some evidence to suggest that she isn't dead, but it's really either or. At the end of FE5, Leaf himself states that if he does find Lycus, he'll ask if he can wed Nana. Nana is obviously overjoyed by this, but if we knew for a fact that Lycus did die at the Aid Desert, wouldn't Leaf or Nana have known? And if they didn't, wouldn't Finn likely have eventually told them? Speaking of Finn, at the end of FE5, it said that he was gone for 3 years after Leaf was crowned King of Thracia. But it's not confirmed what exactly he was doing those 3 years or where he even was. All we have is rumors that he was at the Aid Desert, maybe looking for Lycus, but we don't know that. Rumors are rumors after all. They could also be false. Even if we do assume that these rumors are true, it doesn't tell us anything on what Lycus' whereabouts were, or even what Finn was doing in the Aid Desert. While this doesn't tell us Lycus' fate, I think it's still important to add. Additionally, Congo's early script had a very interesting tidbit on Lycus. It states that the Silvale prison camp had been liberated and that Deermud had reunited with Lycus there. Just like the Azel subplot, I don't think we can use that as evidence because it's not canon. So after careful analysis, I think the conclusion is that, well, these couldn't be the soldiers of Sigurd's army. I know it's a very boring answer, but so many fates of Sigurd's army are just left ambiguous, so it's hard to confirm that these are actually those 4 units: Ira, Azel, Lex, and Lycus. Lycus herself is very hard to argue for, despite having a lot of evidence to suggest that she's maybe alive. At the very least, we know that she survived the Battle of Valhalla, but we don't know what happened to her when she got to the Aid Desert, and that's where things get very foggy and tough to argue. So overall, as much as I do love these theories and how it could maybe be true, I just don't think we have enough evidence to confirm it. But that's what I think, so let's open the floor for a discussion. What do you think of this fan theory? Could it be legit? Could it not be legit? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.